On this episode of the Innovative Schools podcast, we're sitting down with Dr. Tracey Severns to talk about the use of joy and laughter in the classroom and this thing called the warm demander. Come on, let's learn together. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Innovative Schools podcast. It's Jordan here with Liz.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you today?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on the ground here in, where are we?
We are
Las
in Vegas.
Vegas.
We are recording in
Las Vegas. So yeah, honestly, we're just enjoying the city, the summit. Yeah, we're having fun, y'all. We're having fun.
I had a question for you, Liz. This
What's
may
the
seem a little
question?
strange, but we'll tie it into what we're talking about today.
Okay, hit me with it.
All right. What is something that someone can do for you that instantly brings joy to your heart?
Oh my gosh. What is something that somebody does for me that instantly fills me with joy? Okay. This might sound like a basic answer, but I truly do mean it. Okay, so you know when you're having a conversation with a friend or somebody that you trust or really love, and like they put their phone down?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like when they're like, hey, let me give you my undivided attention. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that person really does care about that I'm sitting in front of them. I'm valued, I'm seen. And I'm like, hey, I can give all of myself in that. And it makes me really happy because they're like, hey, this doesn't matter. You are what matters.
That's a fantastic answer. Honestly, we've known each other for a long time.
I know.
I feel kind of bad. That's not what I would have thought you would have chosen at all. But
I mean, honestly,
it makes a lot of sense.
I just
knowing
like
who
to
you are.
know that I'm valued in the space, man.
Okay, so the reason why I asked that question
Okay.
is because we have Dr. Tracey Severns here with us on this podcast.
Oh my gosh.
And we're going to be talking to her about bringing humor and joy back into the classroom.
Oh, okay.
And so
important.
just to kind of start with that, how you doing, Dr. Tracey Severns?
Hey, I'm just a little north of perfect.
That's a good place to be.
Feel good today?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's fantastic. So I say we just get into this, talking
Let's do
about
it.
joy and humor. First, though, this wasn't on the sheet that we gave you. Why is joy and humor in the classroom so important to you?
Because it's where it's that space where everything happens. I mean, when you think about experiences in life, what do you often remember? You remember what surprised you, what made you laugh. You remember those times, ways, and places that you had a connection of the heart, almost in the soul, that you respond on this deep level. I think there's nothing more just beautiful than laughter. I mean, have you ever seen any of those video clips with a baby laughing in the high
Yes.
chair?
Yes.
Everybody starts cracking up. You cannot resist. There's a purity to it that I think is so raw and so real, and it's a universal space where we can all connect, irrespective of background or language or anything. And you know, when I started teaching, my first experience was with kids who were so hard to reach and teach that districts spent tens of thousands of dollars to send them to somewhere else.
Wow.
And so the children in this out-of-district placement were often wounded. They were vulnerable, sometimes angry. They were full of angst. They were really, really challenging. And to teach a group of students who were just so volatile and vulnerable, you have to figure out a way. It really becomes a matter of survival. And what I discovered is when I was funny, if I would teach with an accent or something, or if I said something unexpected, they just were right in the palm of my hands. I mean, kids who were highly distractible, who were easily inclined to just instigate each other, they were right there. And I learned, particularly with very challenging children, the power of using humor. Because when I used humor, not only were they more attentive, they remembered what I taught. They tended to be more creative in terms of how they would respond. Humor is associated with divergent thinking, with long-term retention, and with building a sense of relationship and group cohesion. And that's what I wanted and needed to do with this group of really challenging children. And you know, now that I work with adults, it's just as or more important. So earlier today I did a pre-conference. You're looking out at almost 300 people. And people today have an attention span about, the length of, I don't know, like a flea. It's quick.
That might
it's
even
short.
be generous.
So if you use humor, people stay, they attend, and they don't want to miss out. So it's just a way to really connect with and captivate an audience.
Yeah. I want to back up just a minute because you hit a couple different things in there. But first is you, in your response there, we went all the way from your beginning of teaching to what you did a couple hours ago.
That's right.
So let's just give
So
a
are
little
we
taste.
done?
So you,
'Cause
we nailed it. That's
That's
all
everything.
over.
That's my whole career.
It's all over.
Thank you very much.
But you've worked in a classroom. Let me see if I get all this stuff to remember. You worked in a classroom. You were an administrator, principal, assistant principal, all that fun stuff. District level.
Yes, superintendent.
And did you do all, elementary, middle, high, or what was your?
Well, I was. Can I do it for you?
Sure.
I'll break it down.
I was trying to show how much I remembered about what you told me.
Don't hurt yourself.
Okay.
All right, here we go. So I started as a para.
Okay.
I was
cool.
an aide in that school for really challenging children. Then I was a special ed teacher. Then I was a master teacher, which was a role that was kind of between teachers and administrators. So that was a challenging space. Then I was a vice principal, a superintendent. I was assistant commissioner for the Department of Education in New Jersey. So I was chief academic officer for 2 years. I was a director of student performance. And then I retired. Oh my gosh.
You wore so
But
many
you
hats.
didn't stop.
Oh, I know. But I retired. My daughter says I retired very badly. I
Yes.
am busier now than ever before, traveling the world on a mission and with a message.
Yes.
That we
You
really
do.
can do this
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why I was trying to set that up is
Okay.
to basically just say you've touched pretty much every aspect of education, and this is still one of the most important things to you. What I sense from you is the humor and joy. I think this is something that you said. It's in my notes of saying that joy is essential, not optional.
Yes.
And so I know the answer to this question, but want to give you some space to elaborate. Would you say it is essential at every aspect, no matter where you are, whether you're in the classroom or at the administrator or district or?
Absolutely, because that's when we are really human. I believe we can do really serious work without taking ourselves so seriously. I mean, that if we can find the fun and funny in what we do, we're going to have people alongside us to do this together. I think if we get too in our heads, if we're too like, I'm so smart and like, oh my God, like it's so off-putting.
Yeah,
You're just
it
like,
really
shut up.
This girl over
Right?
Liz.
I know. Back
They're
off.
calling me out.
Gosh,
You don't
dang,
actually.
get down.
You're one of the most natural, normal, joyful people that I know.
That's
He
nice.
did not need to make me start crying on this podcast.
Yeah.
That was rude, but
Hey,
thank you.
take the compliment and move on.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Accept.
Thanks, guys.
Accept it.
I appreciate
Yes.
that.
So I think in every role that one of the places that we connect, again, that transcends all differences is laughter. And I think it can be very wholesome and healthy, and it is memorable. Our brains just light up. And so whether we're working together, learning together, or just trying to be together as humans in this shared space, I think doing that over laughter
Yeah.
and joy is so important. It makes everything better.
It really is, and it makes a lot of sense. But it seems like such a normal thing to like overlook. But when I listeners or anyways here just like to think back, I'm thinking of some of my most strongest memories are those with laughter or a
Yeah.
joke or a humor. I mean, it's a thing that you go and you tell people about. So I can see how in education, partnering those two things together, like even if you're making a joke of, some learning criteria or something, like it can be memorable. Running home, mom, Miss Severns said this joke today. Well, why'd she say that? Oh, she was teaching us about, and
Yes,
how
that's
it
right.
links
Because
together.
all those things, there's hooks, there's connections to what the substance was. And then if we, bring out what's like fun or funny about that, that's where the magic, like you said, that's what you remember. If you think back, like I think that people today, I mean, and one of the things that people approached me when I was downstairs trying to buy my terrible turkey wrap, no offense to Caesars, but $28 really? I don't think so. 3 young women came up and they're like, that was so amazing, you were so funny. And that wasn't the presentation on humor, but if you weave in fun and funny, if you're a little self-deprecating, if you just like are spontaneous, you just go with it in the moment. Like if you just pay attention, there's so much that's funny all around us.
Yeah.
It's a matter of what are you looking at and what are you looking for as you move through the world.
Yeah.
And we can really have a more enlivened, joyful, upbeat experience if instead of going through the world looking at the latest offense or affront or something that didn't work, that makes us mad, you look for the, what was humorous, like those little things. I mean, schools are funny things happen in schools.
Just look
a
through
lot.
TikTok.
Yes, 10 out of
There's
10.
a lot that's
See funny
funny.
things.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is to look for those things and sit with those as opposed to just the negative stories.
Yeah.
They always say you always like find what you're going to look for.
Yes.
Like you always in your mind are already predispositioned. If you're going to look for the negative, you're going to find the negative.
Yes.
But if you are one of those few people who are like, no, I'm going to look for the positive. I'm going to find the joy, the hope, the laughter. You're definitely going to find it.
So what I say is every day we make a choice, whether we're going to go on a witch hunt or a treasure hunt.
Are you looking at my notes? It's literally right here. Witch hunt or treasure
That's
hunt.
right.
you go.
The promise is that you'll always find what you're looking for because those are the lenses through which you see the world. Yeah. And like I said, schools, they can tell stories of success and of breakthroughs or horror stories.
Yeah.
And again, you're going to find what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's true. I can definitely think back to like times with myself where I've flipped between those two mentalities and how my day goes is based off of which one of those I choose in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so true.
What's your mood? Like what are you going to, how are you going to move? I think one of the best things, so for a short time I took comedy lessons. So which was crazy.
What a self-improvement maneuver.
It is, and it's so terrifying. It's terrifying because it's like, okay, get up there, stand under the lights, and make me laugh. So that's really not what I'm all about. But it's about learning how to look for the funny and share those things in a way that makes people laugh, that just elevates their mood. And the best part about taking comedy lessons is when I was looking for material, I went through the world looking for what was funny instead of looking for what was wrong and what was bad and what makes you angry. Because when you live in New Jersey, there's plenty of stuff that can make you angry.
There's a lot to make
From
you
the
angry.
traffic to the people to all of, to like there's plenty of stuff that can make you angry. But why? Why live in that space? So it was the best because when you found anything on like a sign in a store where the apostrophe is in the wrong place, like that's doesn't make any sense. Like, or just any of those little things, it just changes your worldview.
Yeah, it really does. So how do you see we've kind of talked in a general sense. So I want to bring us back into like a classroom.
Yes.
How do you relate all of that into, if we like giving some examples of what happens to a teacher in a classroom when they switch from the witch hunt to the treasure hunt?
All right. So here's the simplest thing. Okay, you ready? It requires no PD and it's free.
Perfect.
Okay?
Okay.
Ready? Smile.
It's that simple.
true.
It is. There's research to suggest that we don't necessarily smile because we're happy, but we're happy because we smile. And you can smile your way into a better mood. And so, I mean, that's something that I do. I just smile. When I was on the plane coming down here, and the guy next to me was like really crowding me, and I'm thinking about all the challenges that I'm going to face. I'm thinking like I need to smile. Like when you smile, it just lifts your whole mood. So smile costs nothing. Smiles are contagious because when you smile at someone, like I did that today. So when I was walking through the halls, I would look at people and smile, and there's almost a double take because they don't expect that.
Right.
And
It's
so
almost like the norm they're expecting is.
that's it. And I really think we underestimate the impact of smiling. And just as a principal, as a teacher, just smiling more. I'll also say that it's not on the teacher solely to elevate the joy, that we can involve the kids in doing that. So one way, a lot of teachers have jobs, right? The kids have different jobs. A wonderful job is a greeter, is a student who stands at the door and speaks every child's name and welcomes them to the classroom that day. That costs nothing.
Yeah.
It takes when you set up your jobs, you just add a greeter or you add a smile starter. And that's the person who brings something like funny, a little meme, there's so many things around us that we can teach kids how to make sure the humor is appropriate.
Yeah.
And that can be, what a great life lesson. So, here's another example. If you're a teacher and you're going to do the how-to essay, you remember like the how-to essay.
Oh, like where you're writing
Like a how-to,
instructions, like
right.
how to make a sandwich.
Like how to do that, make sure it's clear and in the
Yeah.
proper sequence. One of my favorite how-to essays is how to annoy a teacher. If you want to
Do you
read
have that
something
content
funny,
right now?
I have examples that I saved because the kids are so funny. They would say like, raise your hand like you have a question, and when she calls on you, say, I forgot. And then later you raise your hand and keep doing that. Like they know exactly what pushes everyone's buttons.
Yeah.
So assessments could be funny if you have a funny question. We all know the classic, in what year was the War of 1812? Or just little things to add some levity. The mistake is believing this is something else, something extra that's going to make it harder for me. And it isn't, because I think what we have in common is everyone wants that too.
Yeah, and I think there's, I'm not going to say think. I know. I know there's a human element that comes. You said it a little bit earlier of like laughing and making jokes together. And I think that's really important too, for students to know, oh, they're funny. Like they're not just robots regurgitating information. They don't just care about the test scores or care about the grades or, whatever. Like they want to have fun too. And it's like, oh, my teacher's a human also. Just
a bigger person than me.
Yes, yes. And we can bring that into the classroom, and principals can bring that to the faculty because our stories shape our perceptions, which determine our experience. And unfortunately, many times in schools, what starts to happen is people get status by having the bigger, badder story.
Yes.
Well, you know what happened to me?
I've been
Well, that's
caught in that so
nothing.
many
What happened to
times.
me? But we can shift the narrative in a very deliberate way. Like Simon Sinek says, one of the great powers of a leader is the power to shape the narrative of their school. But we need to make space for that, and we need to invite that. So if you have teachers who come into the faculty room, and they're sitting with their people and they're sitting in the groups, have them share with each other a good story, a breakthrough, a success, and then have them determine whose story we're going to share with the whole group. And what you find is it just starts to elevate the mood. In the absence of cultivating those kinds of stories, the negative will typically take over.
There's a vacuum and a story needs to fill that space.
Yes.
But are you cultivating an atmosphere where the positive fills or
Yes.
the negative fills that space?
Exactly. What are those good stories? So, when I do this with teachers, I had some elementary teachers the other day, and I said, "Tell us a funny story. What happened in your class that was really funny?" And one of the kindergarten teachers said that they started to do show and tell again. So they just, reinstated the practice. And one of the little girls brought in the purple furry handcuffs from her mom's side table.
Oh, no.
From her nightstand. And it's
Earlier I told you this is a family-friendly podcast.
is. Well, I'm sure it was for in case any, bad guys broke in or
Yes,
something.
absolutely.
100% that's what that was.
Yeah. But that's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
And and kids write funny things and say funny things.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a superintendent, I used to visit classrooms, and I was walking out of a kindergarten classroom once, and I heard a little boy say to another boy, "You know who that was?" And the other boy said, "Who?" He said, "That was the Super Nintendo."
That's a badge of honor for that title. I think you
Yes.
should have gotten a little nameplate or
Super
something. The
Nintendo.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah. It's just, it's really funny. Funny things happen.
That's great. Well, we're going to take just a little break.
Okay.
And then we'll continue this conversation. This has been great so far. So listeners, hang tight for a minute and we'll be back.
See you soon.
Let me know if this sounds familiar. You just finished listening to an episode of the Innovative Schools podcast, and you want to hear more from that guest or speaker. Well, you can at the Innovative Schools Summit. The Innovative Schools Summit is an event that brings internationally recognized thought leaders, educational consultants, teachers, and administrators from all over to come and show you what they've learned. We feature speakers like Michelle Borba, Michael Bonner, Steve Spangler, Gary Brooks, Kim Bearden, and many, many more. You're not going to want to miss this. We hold these summits in big cities like New York, Las Vegas, Nashville, Orlando, and San Antonio, so there's always one close by. If you want more information, go to theinnovativeschoolsummit.com and check it out. We hope to see you there.
Welcome back to the Innovative Schools podcast. We have Tracey Severns here.
Yes.
Dr. Tracey Severns, you paid good money, a lot of time. Want to make sure
Thank you.
your husband said
Thank
it, had to
you.
say it at least 4 times.
Yes,
I think
that's
we're on
right.
3.
Okay,
So
that's right.
one more time.
Okay.
And we got Liz here. We're
Yes.
talking about bringing joy and humor and all the positivity back into the classroom and everything like that. I have a word, well, I guess it's 2 words, on my notes here.
Okay.
Warm demander.
The warm demander pedagogy.
Okay.
Yes, tell us about that.
It sounds like it's the opposite of the cold, unreliant. I don't know, the cold person. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay,
I
no,
don't
I
know.
know. That was
you
just
were
a
trying to
little
set
trick.
me up.
I
got
did
nothing.
that.
It sounds positive.
Yeah,
if
no,
I
it's
had to
good.
guess.
It's good. I was
I
just
don't know.
pl-
Demanding
I
sounds
was just playing.
negative,
It can,
but
but
Not
it,
always.
yeah, that's true. Because really, I believe that high expectations is the greatest compliment you can give anybody. Because it says, like, I believe you can rise. So a demander who says, do it again, you're better than that. Like, you can do this.
almost like coaching.
Yes.
I feel like
exactly.
is kind of a relatable idea to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, pal, I know
You can do it.
I've seen you do it before. And
I believe in you.
Yeah.
That's right. So the warm demander pedagogy, and I apologize, I was just playing with you before. When I
couldn't
bounced it
tell.
right back to you, you were like,
We're going to come back to that later.
Okay. I'm
when we
going to be
try
ready.
and draw the line
Okay,
between
I'll be
humor and
ready.
sarcasm.
Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. All right. So warm demander pedagogy. Warm demander pedagogy says this. It's based on a genuine, caring relationship. I will accept from you nothing less than your best. That you will treat me, yourself, and your peers with respect. So the warm demander pedagogy exists at the intersection of press and care.
Okay.
So press and care, not push, because what do you get when you push? You get pushed back. It's right in our vernacular, right? But press is like a warm, strong guiding hand on the low back that brings us to our higher selves.
Okay.
So press and care. I love you enough. I care about you enough to require of you that you do your very best, that you rise. So when teachers teach with the warm demander pedagogy, they do some from a place that's a genuine, caring relationship and that offers the rigor necessary to master the hard stuff. So the highest levels of achievement, the highest levels of performance are associated with the warm demander pedagogy because it says, I love you, I care about you, and I demand from you that you be your best.
I love the and there.
Yes.
I'm a real stickler for people who may put but
Yes.
in that space.
That's
and
right.
I always feel that word but negates everything before it.
Exactly.
And so having the and, it's both of those things together.
I tell people all the time, keep your butt to yourself.
Fair.
That's what I say. I do.
love
I
that.
say that. But I believe in and Jim Collins in his book Good to Great, he talked about the tyranny of the or and the genius of the and. So the tyranny of the or causes us to believe that we have to pick. So we can have rigor or relationships. We can teach to standards or have smiles. We can have care or cover content. And I say no. What it's about is and I say to people, whether I'm teaching or working with leaders, it's meet me in the land of and, where we can do two seemingly contradictory things at the same time. See, we don't have to pick. That's a false dichotomy to believe that if the work in the classroom is rigorous, where there's productive struggle, where kids are being challenged, that isn't showing care. It is, because it is through the struggle that the learning happens.
Yeah.
And one of my noticings post-pandemic is that many teachers have lost frustration tolerance. And what I mean by that is they have lost tolerance for frustration on the part of their kids. So when I say to them, well, challenge them. This has several possible answers.
You mean when the kids get frustrated?
The teachers have lost tolerance for allowing their kids to struggle.
To struggle, yeah.
They say that's going to be too hard for them. They're going to get upset. And I say, but it's in how it's presented. It's in this invitation to rise. It's buttressed by high expectations. So if you come from that place, then the greatest compliment you can offer someone is high expectations, because it says, I believe in you. The warm demander says, we can celebrate together this success that you will achieve when I teach you from that upper right quadrant. If you picture press and care, high, low, high. Yeah. At high, up in that upper right quadrant is high press and high care. And that's where success resides. That's where that...
Yeah. Well, so, Liz, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
When you... I'm turning to you now.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you do something that you struggle with and you succeeded, are you more or less likely to share it with people than if you just did something that you was easy?
No, I feel like when you really are in that fight to do something, like that one time I needed to learn how to chop a piece of wood at your house. And I was like, my dad had, an axe, but we didn't have any wood at my house. So I said, Jordan, I need to learn.
We had a dead tree and we had it cut down, and then we were cutting firewood, and Liz said...
You brought her over to cut your wood?
She said that she wanted to learn how to chop wood.
I'd never done it before.
Okay.
I never done it before.
And I said, sure, come on.
Poor Jordan
We'll
had to
teach you how
watch
to do
me struggle, to also, did y'all know axes are really heavy?
Yes.
So, to swing it around and hit it right at that point where it's going to break and split. And it was a struggle. And he had to watch me over and over and over again try. And when I split that log, what did I do?
You screamed in triumph.
I was so excited. And honestly, I had told my friends about it. There was video footage. It was really exciting.
It's true.
It's the silliest thing.
Maybe we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
No.
Y'all want to see?
No, I bring that up. I'm not just trying to make banter, but I'm glad you brought that. I wasn't even thinking about that story. But I was asking you about that because I think it plays into what you're saying of when we accomplish something that was demanding and stressful,
Yes.
we are so much more excited about the result to be sharing it or to any of those different things. And I remember in that you asked me, you said while you were trying to cut the piece, you said, I can't do it. I said, well, I'm not helping you.
He did. He did.
There you go.
No, he did. He was like, you can do that. You can do this. Keep trying. Keep struggling. I'm going to give you tips and pointers, but I'm not going to do it for you, and I'm not going to let you walk away. Warm Demander.
Warm Demander.
Good pal. Thanks, Jordan.
Warm Demander. I love that. Like an example I give adults sometimes is I like to do the New York Times, like those little puzzles, Wordle
Yeah.
and connections
Yeah.
and things like that. And sometimes connections is so hard. It's so hard trying to find the 4 groups of 4 words. And my sense of jubilation at getting that right is so much different than when I resort to like checking a hint. You know, you can go on the
Google
hints,
or something,
like,
or-
hints
yeah.
for connections. It just is like, wah, wah. Like I don't like I got it, but so what? But the eureka moment is I did it.
So how do you pair? There's a couple of different questions I have here, I think, which is you have a class of 20, 25. Warm Demander probably means something different to every one of those students. But then also pairing, as we were talking about, like humor and things with that Warm Demander pedagogy.
Yeah. Well,
idea.
the Warm Demander, think about, you know, what you were talking about, Liz. You experienced, you describe, and I watched your whole face light up, even with the memory. But that's what it does. It evokes feelings of joy. So here's what we need to be careful, that we don't conflate humor like, did you hear the one about the, like, it doesn't have to be jokes. It doesn't have to be, it can be giving kids a chance to experience that breakthrough, that success where you don't overfunction for them, where you don't, I'll give you hints, like just allow the struggle, like just grant it space and be there as a guide, and the joy that follows will come completely from the kids.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, oh, I did it. You know, so it's very real, and it doesn't have to be, you know, like, oh, you're bringing in images from the. It doesn't. It just can be something very natural that occurs in the classroom.
Yeah.
I had a question.
Yes.
I know, like, especially for students who, you know, maybe just have like a ton going on, like there is a lot of like negativity and stuff maybe in their home life or just things that they're experiencing. I know, like, this might be a basic question, but for a teacher who's, you know, trying to implement something like this in a really practical way, for a student who's like really struggling, and I mean getting to that point where they're like, I'm about to give up or blow up or something like that, what are some like just normal, natural, warm ways that a teacher can just come alongside in a helpful way to say, like, I believe in you? And maybe it's just as simple as saying, I believe in you, but what are some ways that you found helpful that you're helping those students understand, I'm expecting a lot of you, but I know you can do it?
Yes. I think
In
one
a
of
fun
the
way.
things you can do is say, well, tell me, what have you figured out so far? You know, where are you now? Like, okay, you're into it this far. You're a little stuck here. What else have you tried? I think, you know, there's real power in inquiry when you're coming from a place where you're helping people tap into their own resources to build their own resiliency. And so, you know, well, you know, it started with this. Like, think of anything you first learned. It's typically messy. You know, it's not what you want it to be, but you recognize that it is more than it was. And you help, like, what can you do now that you couldn't do before? And you celebrate that. And you recognize and acknowledge the learning progressions. And I think help people see not their deficits, the shortfall, like where you aren't, but the progress you've made so far. And sometimes that can build some striving and some momentum to try to get to the next thing. I think not being not offering just vacuous praise that kids are like, that's not even genuine. But it's I notice that you did this and you got to the next step. What else could you? So students are not drawn in by what they know is disingenuous, vacuous praise.
Right, yeah.
Like,
They
oh,
can
you're
tell
so
when you're
smart.
not.
No.
Yeah.
So I think really having process-oriented or task-oriented, when I say, feedback,
Okay.
that helps kids move forward. And I think there's also, I want to come back, Liz, because you had said in the beginning, some kids come to school and they've got a lot on their hearts and their minds but think of a time when you had hardship in your life. Someone wasn't well. There was a worry. A little respite from that, like a vacation from those troubles, can be to be fully immersed in something that genuinely interests and engages you.
Yeah.
So the idea that, well, these kids come from a tough place, so I can't ask a lot of them, is not true. This can be they're a place where they let those things go.
It's like a safe place.
They
for
don't
them.
have to sit there and ruminate all day. Like, I wonder if Dad's going to come home to. I wonder if we'll have the power will. Why leave them in that all day?
Yeah.
And speaking of that idea of and or, one of the things that really frosted my Cheerios, like when I kept hearing people say, like,
I'm using that one later.
oh, like post-pandemic, Maslow before Bloom, Maslow before Bloom. No. And so Maslow talked about, those needs and taking care of safety and all of those things. Bloom talked about thinking, what about and? Because a great way to fully engage someone, and we can keep it safe during that. We can make sure they're fed and watered and they're moving toward like all those safety needs, and give them something worthy and real and authentic to solve, something else to think about.
I was just thinking about that, and in that situation of you can attend to their needs and help them have a respite.
Yes.
It's like it's both, and sometimes that can be a fine line or be tricky, but it's true. Just thinking back through times that have been kind of tough, having one good laugh, having one, even it's 30 seconds long, but it's just
It's a
enough
release. It is really a release.
So transcendent.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of brings us into another area of this whole humor in the classroom thing of the line between humor and either sarcasm or
and hurt.
distraction. Because there's a lot of variables there. What I can say, a joke that I may be able to say to Liz, I may not be able to say to you or to someone else or someone who doesn't quite know, or different situations, and things may not land well. Maybe you accidentally create more hurt without knowing. So I just want to hear from you, and like for us to talk just a little bit about those lines of between this is funny and that was not.
Yes. And it's so important to know your audience. When we work with children, they're at different developmental levels. Some are in a very concrete phase. So if you say something in jest, they may think it's literal. What we want to make sure is that there are no victims.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
There's no victims. I, as a middle school principal, I had a 6th grade science teacher who thought sarcasm was funny. But the 6th graders to whom he directed that certainly did not. And I'll tell you, is he often used it toward some of my more struggling or my special needs youngsters. And it was very hurtful that they would try to disappear in the classroom or avoid it altogether. Sometimes humor can be cutting, it can be unkind. We need to make sure that there are no victims, that it's at that right level. It just needs to be done with a sense of awareness.
Yeah, my dad used to tell me before walking out the door every morning, he'd say, use your humor for good, not for evil.
Like your
Every day.
superpowers.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can either be a superhero or a supervillain.
Yes. That's right. I mean, lift
That's what he would
people
tell
up.
me.
Yeah.
So and we've all seen comedians or people who who pick on a certain ethnicity or a certain like, and they say when I took comedy lessons, they teach you never punch down, never. So to other groups or populations that are often kind of victims, if you will, that's not where you go. It might be it's cheap, it's easy and it's cheap, and it's not really funny because the laughter that you get from that is discomfort. It's right.
It's an uncomfortable laugh. It's not like that was really funny.
Right.
You're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it really is. It needs to be done with a level of sensitivity, and awareness. And if you cross the line inadvertently once, be big enough to apologize. Say maybe I went a little too far. I think that's important too, is to own it. If you don't, I think with kids, it's especially important that it's done at their level so that they understand it and can laugh with you and understand no one's laughing at them.
Yeah, I think that's a really good distinction. That's something in my daughter I've been trying to work on, and she nailed it the other day. She did such a good job with it. So we were in the car, and we were about to go into a store, but it was raining. So I was telling her, hey, when we get out, we got to go quick. We got to get there. We don't want to get wet. And she just looks at me. And with this snarky little face, but like in the right way, she says, "Dad, you don't want to feel the rain on your skin?" And I was like, "What?" She goes, "No one else can feel it for you."
Oh my God. Like Natasha is like, yes, ma'am. Natasha Pedagogy.
She's 8. She just threw it out there. There's really no victims. And what it was is I said that to my wife a handful of days earlier.
Oh, okay.
I yelled at
a callback.
Her. It was. She called back. No one's the victim. Well-timed, right place. I gave her a high five. I said, "That's good humor."
Yeah, it is.
That's a great way to use
Lou.
this.
That's right.
Like
That's it. That's it. Just keep it light.
I told her.
Yeah.
What is well, I don't want to get into bashing people, but we talked a little bit earlier about there's success stories and there's failure stories of using humor. Let's just stay on the light side. What's one of your success stories that you have about using humor in the classroom, either from you or from something that you heard from someone?
Let's see. Well, I know when I was first teaching in the school for students who had been sent to these out-of-district placements. So the students at the time, their classification was ED or BD, emotionally disturbed, behaviorally disordered. So it was really tough kids. And just even little things like puns. One of the girls in my class, she used to call me Corny Severns. Your name isn't Tracey Severns, it's Corny Severns. So sometimes it's like versions almost of dad jokes, but they're like, they're just, it's just something that even in the spur of the moment, a little play on words, a little something that can make them laugh. I think, as a principal, I was talking with some principals the other day, and I said one of my favorite stories is before the 8th grade dance, I had 3 girls come to me and ask me to teach them how to walk in heels. Oh and we walked, and they're like, "Well, we know because we always hear you clipping down the hallway." And it was just one of those times where it just was so cool, like they trusted me, that they brought their heels and we walked around my office, and they were terrible at it. They're doing it in all this like really awkward kind of way and everything. But it was so adorable. And when they walked in to the dance, they came walking in feeling like they had it going on. And yes, they kicked their shoes off 5 minutes into it and everything.
But they walked in with those on.
They did, and they looked at me with like, you taught us. Like, it was just a special moment. One of the things that I do to help people reconnect to their why is I ask them, talk about a teacher who made a difference in your life, and everyone has that person. Who lifted you up, who saw something in you that maybe you didn't even believe was there. And people smile and connect, and they talk about that. And I want them to remember you could be that person for someone in your class.
That's a fantastic
connect
reminder.
to to the people who were that for you,
Yeah.
you know, or talk about a moment that you're really proud of. And I'll tell you, when I was at that school, I had a student named Anthony, and he really struggled in lots of ways. Out of the blue, he contacted me just a couple years ago, and I taught him in like the early 90s, and he said, I just want to tell you I'm in my final years of med school.
Oh my gosh.
It took me a long time, and I'm almost done because of you. He said, you always believed in me. And what I want people to remember is every day you leave a mark. My question is it a scar or like a smile? Like, what are you leaving?
Wow.
Like, every day you leave that impression. So live into your legacy.
Yeah.
How do you want to be remembered?
Yeah.
And it's as simple as seeing you, like looking at people, noticing like, oh, you look. So I used to walk down the hall when I was a principal, and I'd stop one of my girls and say, look at you. What did I tell you? What is the rule in this school? No one's allowed to look better than the principal. And girl, you look good. And they'd be like, oh, they just walk away a little. Do you see each other? It can be just, it's so simple.
Yeah.
In fact, the fact that it's so powerful and so deceptively simple is what I think makes us, what it eludes us sometimes. Like, how could it be? But it can be that. It can be really in a smile and in a positive attitude.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you through this whole conversation where we started with joy and humor and where we've ended now. You have left a good mark
Oh, thank you.
on me. You
Yes.
can talk for yourself, but
No, seriously. Wow.
and I hope that I can't see how anyone couldn't listen to this podcast and also feel the same way. So
Oh, that's good.
I
Good.
really appreciate you coming and
Well,
being on
thank
this
you.
podcast with us and going through everything. We covered a lot of ground, and I think that's fantastic, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. So anyone have anything to say before we close this one out?
Yeah, no, honestly, I think you've left us, I mean, the teachers who are listening, as well as like myself, just really how we are walking in our legacy today.
Yes.
What we're leaving behind.
a good word.
And like, seriously, moment by moment, wow, you've just given me a lot to think on. So
Yeah.
thank you, girl. You're helping us be better.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. We're going to close out this episode of the Innovative Schools podcast. I don't hope you learned something. I know you learned something today, or we're reminded of something, and we hope that you can take some humor into your classroom, help every student, every person, not just the
Yes.
students, every person, your coworkers, everyone,
Colleagues,
help
yes.
them smile more. But we know teaching's a hard job, and we don't want to negate that, but we can smile and the job can be hard at the same time. So thank you all for listening. We'll see you at the next episode.
All right.
Guys.